Ready? This week is Parshas Beshalach. So we have a guest. Short appearance today. Everyone see him?
Whoa.
Paro. This is the end. All right? So here he is, and this is what's going to happen to him. Boys and girls, do you see? Boom. Now.
Let the air out.
Now the question is, what really happened? We're standing on the shores, and as they say, between a rock and a hard place, or between Mitzrayim and the people who are about to kill us, and the water, the sea. What are we going to do? This is everyone's choice in life. And Nachshon ben Aminadav is the one who actually jumps in and goes ankles, knees, as we say, toes, ankles, knees, and up to his neck, and then the waters actually split. It happens, Az Yashir. What happens there? We see the miracle of all times, and Bnei Yisrael then follows. Actually, Hashem speaks to Moshe because Moshe says, he starts screaming to Hashem. And Hashem says, Lama titzak alai, why are you screaming to me? It's time for action. There's a time for prayer and there's a time for action, not lengthy prayer. So the question is, what does it mean? Why are you screaming to me? It means let the people take action. Because up above, the angels were saying, listen, the Egyptians were idol worshippers, the Jews are idol worshippers, what are you killing them? Why should you kill the Egyptians? So Hashem said they need some merit, some credit. So by taking action, by taking a positive step, they deserved it and they earned it. And it's another interpretation says, Lama tzitzak Elai. Why are you screaming? Elai, it's up to me. It's up to me, Hashem. I'll take care of it. Stand back and watch. And that's one of the famous songs. If you know, it's Yatziru Ura'u Es Yeshuas Hashem. Stand and you will see the great miracles performed by Hashem. But there's an even greater song, and that's the song Az Yashir. Then they sang. Now, I'm not a singer, but they sang. Why? Why were they singing? What is song? Song is something harmonious. It's notes. Each individual note by itself stands alone, but when it's all together, it creates something beautiful. So each individual action was only one thing, but when they saw it come together, when they understood the makos, when they understood why the bad things happened, when they understood Mitzrayim and Egypt, suddenly, and then they see the Egyptians, and the best part is that they actually landed on their feet on the dry land so that they could see them afterwards, so they realized that slavery was finally over, that chapter in their life was finished. When the realization came, they could do nothing but sing. And not only did they sing, but who was even more prepared to sing? The women. They brought their little drums, their tambourines, their tof. I brought one. Mine happens to have food in it because I'm not zocha to have manna right now, so I prepared it. But anyway, they sang because the women had even more bitachon, they had even more faith, so they knew that Hashem would ultimately save them. The water split, and they didn't just simply split. The bottom got hard. They were able to walk across it almost like a carpet. And on either side there were walls. The 12 tribes each went in their own lane. Perfect. Not only that, but you could reach out and you could have a drink right from the walls. So it was the most magnificent experience. And wherever people were, if they were drinking a cup of water, which why I took this, because I wanted to show you how the water actually split in my cup of water. Wherever they were, people, if they were taking a bath, if they were drinking, the water split, so they would say, what's happening? And they would be aware that somewhere Hashem was creating this miracle. And of course, everybody was mind-boggled by this. Of course, not Amalek, but we'll hear about that later. So you would think after all this magnificent miracle, not a few days later, complaints about food, complaints about water. So we'll start with the manna. They said, manna. What is it? What is the man? The man means mahu. Man, and we just read about it. It's similar to the word man-i. Money, because really we're supposed to understand that everything is from Hashem. That our parnasa, our livelihood, is from Hashem. The food we eat is from Hashem. And what did it taste like? They didn't know what it tastes like. They said it tasted like honey. Actually floured, right? Cake dipped in honey. I think of it as a funnel cake, the ones that usually are not kosher at the carnivals that you go to, but the funnel cake, it's honey dipped cake. However, they also said, later on it says it tasted like dough. And so it says, what's the difference? Because the taste is up to you. What you think is what you get. Tzaddikim, great people, if they're thinking Torah thoughts, if they're thinking great thoughts, it would taste sweet, it would taste delicious. If someone was thinking mundane thoughts, it would mundane thoughts. And if someone wasn't even thinking, didn't even put in that effort, the Chafetz Chaim said, it would taste like nothing. So it's up to us to understand what our manna tastes like. So when you want good manna, that's what you got to do. And of course, it was a test to the people of Bnei Yisrael, because every day they were supposed to go out and collect it, except on Shabbos, double portion. That's why we have 2 challahs to remember the double portion. However, there's always those wise guys, and there were a few who said, we're going to show them that it really does fall on Shabbos. So some Rishayim, some evil people went out and they put out little manna, and they put out their man on Shabbos morning, and they called everyone out, and they said, come see, it really did fall. Only the birds had eaten it up. So for that, there is a custom to put out bird food, like bread on Friday, for the birds, because they participated in the mitzvah, therefore it wasn't a Hashem. So anyway, there you are, you have the mitzvahs all falling, some fell, some drowned like rocks, like lead, and like straw, depending. The ones who were very evil, straw, they were tossed in turns. The ones who weren't so bad, like rocks, not easy, not hard. The ones that weren't as bad, didn't suffer as much, went straight to the bottom. Now, of course, the sea wasn't so short, wanted to split. It said, why should I split for them? So Hashem reminded them of Yosef. And it says that the seas ran away, because just like Yosef ran away when he was tempted, so too the seas ran away. On the other hand, Yosef left his jacket behind. And that was very incriminating. He should have gone back for it. But he said, no, there might be great temptation. I will do the will of Hashem. And the will of Hashem is just to run off and to run away. No calculations, no second thoughts. The sea said the same thing. No calculations, no second thought. And that brings us to Tu B'Shvat. They said the only tree that really had no calculations and no second thoughts was the esrog. All the trees were told that the taste of the tree should be like the taste of the fruit. But they were all afraid, because they said if the tree tastes like the fruit, everyone's going to cut the bark and eat the tree. So the trees didn't want to listen. The only fruit that said that it actually listened was the esrog tree, whose tree tasted. So therefore, Tu B'Shvat ties in beautifully. Tu B'Shvat is this week. So we have to do the will of Hashem without second thoughts, without calculations, just like Yosef, just like the sea. And of course, we have to look at our life in harmony. Then we get up to the waters. They were called Mei Marivot. They were bitter waters. Hein Maru, they were bitter. So what does it say when it says they were bitter? The people were bitter. When you're bitter, everything tastes bitter. When you think you don't have it so good, everything looks bad. When you're jealous, everything looks bad. But if you have sweet thoughts, your man will taste sweet and the water. So therefore Moshe was supposed to hit the rock, which he did, and water flowed forth. So they were subject to 3 miracles, the man and the water. And one other thing, I know some of you have read King Arthur, and it's funny because there's a part where King Arthur comes and he was able to pull out a staff. It says that the staff, the rod that Moshe used, was actually created, given to Adam. Adam passed it on to Noah, to Abram, to Yitzchak, to Yaakov. It had the 12 tribes written on it. It had the initials of the 10 Makos on it. It had the names of all the Avos and the Mahos. And it passed down all the way to Yosef. Yosef had it, and it went to Yisro. Yisro took it home, and he put it in the ground, and nobody could remove this stick until this rod, the rod that Moshe used, until Moshe comes along, and it was told, whoever can pull out this rod, that's who marries my daughter. So now, of course, I have rods planted around my house. But in those times, so Moshe came along, pulled out the rod, and that's how he got this famous rod. And that is also how these parables and stories come up. So we see that we have the bitter waters. Finally, we'll end off by saying that we have to talk about the Amalek. We are told to destroy Amalek. At this time, they fight against Amalek. Yehoshua is there, and he actually weakens, but does not totally destroy Amalek. And of course, how does he fight? When Moshe raises his hands, Amalek is defeated. When his hands are down, Amalek tends to be victorious. Why? Is it really the hands of Moshe that have such power? What it is that when we look heavenward, when we turn to Hashem, when we trust in Hashem, when we know our parnassus is from Hashem, when we know our health is from Hashem, when we know everything that happens to us, all the great things are from Hashem, when the pieces of the puzzle fit together like in Az Yashir, then we are victorious. And when we look down, when we look at ourselves, when we think it's our hands that are doing it, when we think it's from below, then we are not victorious. So I'll end the parasha by saying, I hope all your life is harmonious. You continue to sing. Amen. That you do everything in life without the calculations, but thinking that Hashem is responsible. That we call to Hashem, but that we take action. And that we always have a double portion in our life. Shabbos.